Hello, it's Kenpo, and we're back from Central Coast Kenpo Karate with another Kenpo Banga for you today. And we're going to resume on evading the storm, right overhead club technique, basing from the purple belt techniques. In the 24 system, that's what we do. This is number 7, evading the storm. All right, so I talked about it in the last video. It's an overhead club attack. It was more of a beginner version. This is going to be a little bit more of the advanced version, sharing some ideas on maybe some grafting, what ifs, drills, stuff like that. I like to kind of share my idea. I'm not going to get super in depth. I gotta leave some for like seminars and stuff like that. But we want to cover at least some of the essential basics. So as we know, club weapons all have that 4 laws: the divert, seize, control, disarm, and that's what we're about. Is being able to get out of the way, make sure you seize it, control it, disarm the opponent. Okay, so checking the storm is like the sibling technique to this because you're stepping on the opposite side versus evading. So evading, I'm going to go on the outside of the arm versus checking's on the inside of the arm. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cover some really cool information that I recently got from Black Belt, and I'll keep his name anonymous for now, but if he wants me to state his name, then I will take a shout out to him. But shout out to one of the fellow Kenpoists that I had a conversation with that told me about using an angular upward block with the blocking of evading the storm versus an outward extended block. I like that. I'm going to use it, and thank you for sharing that information. And that's what we're about as a Kenpo community, is to help increase and benefit and make our Kenpo better and be open-minded to it and being able to change. Remember, I don't believe that everyone has the right version. That's the only version. If that's the case, then go ahead and move on to another video, because these videos are about open-minded, learning how to get better in your Kenpo and learning how to adjust and even be humble enough to make changes in your old version and increase it to a different version. And that's something I'm not embarrassed or I'm not ashamed to do. If I find something that's better than what I'm doing now, a better version of my base technique, I'm going to take that version. Okay, so again, if you guys are staying with us right now, stay to the end of the video, and you guys will get a chance to see the variation I'm talking about here. All right, so before we get started, please like and subscribe to the channel. Like the video, give it a thumbs up. Let's get a bunch of likes on this. Share it with fellow martial artists, Kenpoists. It doesn't have to just be Kenpo. Share it with any martial artist in training. Maybe you're a beginner. Share it with your friends and family. You know, you guys go ahead, and I appreciate the support. We are at 1,100 subscribers now. Yeah, shout out to you guys that are helping us and supporting this channel. Keep it going. We love the support. Leave a comment down below. I'm very active on responding to your comments. Don't be shy to ask questions, stuff like that. We definitely enjoy interacting with our fan base and with our fellow martial artists. So, with that being said, let's get to evading the storm. So, it's against an overhead club technique, coming straight out that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we'll walk through the base version. And then from there, I'm going to go into some drills, things like that. All right, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back, everyone. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and demonstrate evading the storm ideal. Now, like I said, I'm going to go into the outward block versus the upward block scenario. I prefer taking the angle depending if the overhead strike is coming full speed, and obviously it is. So someone's going to hit you, they're going to hit you with everything they got, full intent, and try to knock your brains out. So with that being said, make sure you slide out of the way. Make sure you use that ghost image and time it right at the last second, being able to not get struck by this weapon. So Mrs. Perez here. So what we're going to do is she's going to cut this angle here, but we're going to go slow. Now, she does an extended outward block when she cuts to the angle. So as she steps out to the angle, and if she does an extended outward block and I'm coming full force, I'm going to crack her leg right down the center here. Because there's no way she's going to catch my arm. I'm just going to track down. Even if she was fast, there's just no way. So I'm not going to crush her foot, but I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to go kind of fast and do the outward block. Okay, so there's just no way I'm going to be able to get that. Now she's using angle of deflection, so yeah, she might be able to deflect my arm, but there's no way she's going to catch it. So she would have to change the technique. Now, unless you're super fast, I don't recommend this might happen where if she slides down, let's say she did miss me and I came down here, she might be able to kick on the way of on my head, right? She might be able to kick the head. But you know, that's taking a big chance because at that point, if she misjudges it, go ahead and step and start to kick, I'm going to crush her leg here. So that's the one thing you got to be careful about. Okay? So once again, I wouldn't take that chance. I would say let's do an upward blocking. Okay? Basically like an upward block. So we'll take here, as she steps out, now she stops my arm. She gives a little more pressure on resistance, and from this point she can then start to grab and then kick from that point to the groin. Okay? And we go to the groin. I mean, some of us might go to solar plexus, but I like the groin because, you know, it's guaranteed. It's going to stop someone pretty quickly, and it's most likely going to be the best effective target to strike. So we do that one more time, okay? So once again, she comes up, and takes the kick, and then obviously I'll give her the reaction. Now, a drill you can do at home or with your students or just beginners or even advanced students is to take all your overhead techniques and work the beginning of those overhead techniques, okay? Because right now we're working the horizontal line, okay? So she's either going to step to 3 or 9 o'clock, all right? So if we basically take one side, if we're on the outside, she's going to go ahead and evade the storm. So basically it's evading, and if she steps on the opposite, it's going to be checking. So we'll go, let's do evading one more time. It's the upper block. That's how we're going to do it now. I like that version. It's great. Okay, he comes up, kicks here. Now, if she does the checking, she's going to step on the opposite, and then here's the kick to the groin. Okay, so let's switch. Just go this way. So we'll go checking again. Okay, so if I come in, she's going to hit to the side and then use the checking the storm technique on this case. So basically, on this case, if I was facing this way, I'm going to cut right into that position, into that angle. All right, so we got one. And as soon as she steps, she should be kicking right to the ground, even if I go fast. So if I'm coming fast, right, she's creating her ghost imaging, and she's also learning how to time the kick. So it's a real quick step. Boom, it's a snap kick, right? It's almost like a hooking wings effect where you step back and shoot the kick. In this case, you're going to cut the angle with a snap. Okay? Some of us can do a lifting kick. If it works better for you to do a lift kick, do it. That's fine. You know, sometimes you might have to do a lift kick depending on the angle and on how close the distance is with the attacker. So doing a leg raise kick could work too, or doing a snapping ball kick. You do a leg raise kick, depending, if we're going to look at any errors, if my knees are too close together and she tries to leg raise, there's a good chance if I collapse my knees, I can check it. Okay, that's one thing I can do too. Someone knows how to protect their groin and they see a kick coming from under up, there could be collapsing of the knees, but you know, it's not as common, so, but something just to consider. So now, she can pick any side she wants. So you either go right or left.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And what that does, it just gives the student mental speed. It gives them the ability to pick which direction right away rapidly, and just gives them a chance to feel confident with their timing on ghost imaging. And that can be done with advanced students, or that can be done even with some beginner students. Now, we're going to go into the other techniques that have the upward block, the double cross block. Excuse me. So with that being said, that's obstructing, and it's also going to be capturing. Okay? So we're only going to cover overheads right now, no rounds or returns. Okay? So we're going to work on the vertical line, and then later when I start getting to the horizontal line, then we'll work on that. But in this case, we're going to go and take obstructing the storm. So beginning of obstructing the storm, we'll take it up to like the armbar part. So if I go overhead here, she's going to shoot up off the angle and hit the elbow. Okay, so if I come up here, she's going to hit that elbow right there. Let's go ahead and switch to get a better angle on this side. Comes in again, so I come over here, boom, she's going to hit the angle. Okay, so if I start to get my arm back, then she can take that arm bar, take advantage, and break the arm at that point. Okay, so obviously you're going for a break, right? It's not just applying an armbar, you're going to snap the elbow at that point. So one thing we want to emphasize, and I like this a lot, is to not allow an opening entry for the attacker to recounter her. If she goes to the wrist, if I come up and she goes to the wrist, I can pull, and now I can out leverage her. Okay, and I can just beat her that way if I want to, right? So obviously it's different. I wouldn't do this technique if someone was attacking with a flick. So if someone has the club like this and they come in real quick then, or they flick it, or come under and flick, it's a lot different, okay? That's someone that has more of a club experience, and that's something that can be extremely dangerous. You know, Kenpo, we have more like pounding, pop, circles, and strikes, and then there's some other systems, Filipino system, that's very good. They have it loose and they flick it, and they know how to whip it. They know how to whip the club, and they know how to manipulate it. So that's a totally different way of defending. Again, motion will have to be considered. How you're going to check someone with that kind of system and being able to have an ability to counter some of those strikes. Okay, so that's another video for a later time. I'm not going to cover that. But in this case, we're assuming that this attacker is just the average Joe, doesn't know much, coming in, just swinging in, wham, full force, taking a Hail Mary on this one and hoping they're going to get lucky and hit you. And at this point, you kind of see it coming and you know what to do. So, once again, go out to the elbow.
Yes, sir.
As you cut the angle off the outside. So, she starts to get herself out of the line of the attack. She's not on the vertical plane. She's not on the center line. She took her target, basically moved the target away. So at that point now, as I'm starting to put pressure, she's going to snap the elbow there, okay? All right, that can be one drill added to the other two techniques. So now the students can do checking, evading, and now add obstructing. So let's assume now the club, you didn't get the armbar in time. Maybe it slipped. Maybe, they came way too fast and you just weren't able to stop them. Now, you're going to go into capturing the storm. Okay, so if we come up here, she goes for the elbow again, but at this point I start to slide down. So then she adjusts and she takes it right through, it hits my shin, and now you have this second option, this next what if. All right, so once again, if I come over, she starts to block and come down, she can then go right into the leg, the shin shot here. Okay, so now you have 4 alternatives. You have 2 that come off to the angle, here, the 45s, and then you have the 2 that come off to the sides. Now, if you add the mirror side, the left side to it, now you got all the corners covered, okay? You can take these corners up here, and you can take your side corners horizontals, okay? That's one thing we can do. Now, you start using the back corners, such as the circular motion, which is like returning the storm, right? Being able to use the upper corner for defying, stuff like that. So again, I'm not going to cover any horizontal attacks. We're covering just the vertical attacks coming down the center line, right? So again, those are 4 options you can do, which is a fun option to apply with the club technique. So we have evading, we have checking, obstructing, and capturing. Okay, so one other thing you can do is start to blend or graft if you like. Okay, so if we took, like, for example, evading the storm, and let's say something went off. So let's say she does the evading, she takes the first start, she blocks it, and I'm starting to come down here. She can then take the momentum of this strike, so then go right into capturing. So from here, she can then shift into capturing. So she can graft into the secondary technique. So as she cuts to the side here, she can try to come in this way. And let's just say it's coming fast, right? So again, I come here, boom, she can go right into this shot. And you can take the angle of entry that way. So I'll go slow here, you attack me.
Yes, sir.
So when she comes into this shot here, and I go 1, I can then try to get this club and strike here to the shin with the baseball bat. So once again, we'll go fast a little bit. So I can try to catch here. Okay? So that's another option you can put in. And there's plenty of other alternatives you can graft in. If we took, for example, let's do the overhead, let's do evading. So we go evading here, and kick. Now, let's say, for example, at that point she starts to swing the other punch. And I can get this in, but she might still be able to reach me, right, with the other hand. So she could hit me to the face, right? If I go to the body, she probably could, if this wasn't enough. So if I'm gonna start to see her trying to swing, I'm gonna go right into obstructing and break the arm, my knee strike here. So that's one other way you can take evading and start blending now other techniques from purple belt and blue or green belt and being able to interact these techniques together, okay? So if we did capturing, we showed you that. We did obstructing with it, right? Checking the storm is kind of in its own category. I mean, you could maybe add an insert knife edge kick. The extension does have that. So these are different ways that we can work it. Going into the, from evading, it's just thinking of the reaction. If this club hits the shin at full force and you do a good strike damage here, the reaction of this leg is probably going to come up. Okay, so if we get hit in the clip here and we clip it real good, there's a good chance this knee is going to rise. And that's what we want, because, or we want it to just collapse and destroy the height. So we can take them, the different height zones and destroy it, whether it's a kick to the groin or the shin shot. So if we go slow here, we'll go here. She slides out to the side. Now at this point, if I start, as she starts to grab, and I start to punch, she can go into the groin shot. Let's say I block the shot. She kicks and I block it. And now she can try to adjust right away and hit the shin and then go lower on the height zone, okay? And if you can just get that shin right there, clip it real good, or the kneecap, if this is a pipe or a bat, then it's gonna be an extremely valuable shot. That's why it's in the Kenpo techniques. That's why it's in circling destruction. I mean, capturing the storm. So with that being said, we're gonna look again. It's an upper block. We do it as an upper block in evading. So double upper block versus single. So let's say evading again, it didn't work. Let's say she stepped off to the side here, and then she does the kick. She goes 1, 2, I block it. And then if I block that kick here, she's just gonna drive in. Okay, so let's just do, now we're gonna add that as a what if into it. So we're gonna assume the kick got blocked by the other arm. So you're just gonna go through the whole part. If I come in, right there. Okay, so by the time I try to block this kick and then readjust, I should be getting hit seconds after to the shin. Okay, so again, it's going. Even if I try to adjust right away, if she pulls me off to this angle, or she goes off to this direction, to the 45, she can then take an easier shot to that leg. But we go slow, and she starts to step out, and right here, I block it. And then right here, she cuts this way. It's gonna be hard for me to hit her because she's hitting my leg. Now, I'm not gonna be upright. If she hits my leg, I'm not gonna be like that. Okay? As soon as I block it, she goes low, she's gonna check my height right on the leg shot. Okay? So there's just something to think about, something to play with there. So I wanted to share that with you guys, some ideas on how you can graft and what if phase those techniques together. So that's our take on evading the storm. And like I said, if there's any other details, questions, comments, leave one below. I'd be happy to address it and talk about it and put it to work, okay? And that's what we're about, is learning how to improve our Kenpo and get better with our system and become more practical with it. All right, guys, you have a great day. Thank you for being with us today. Take care and see you next time.
Thanks for watching the video. Click on the bell and subscribe to the YouTube channel.